Welcome back to Nintendo Therapy. This week we're taking another short break from our regular episodes, but we didn't want to leave you without something to listen to. So we've put together another collection of some of our favorite conversations from the podcast. This time focusing on why Nintendo approaches game design differently, from experimentation to creativity to preserving classic games and constantly reinventing old ideas. Whether you're relaxing, working, studying, or just looking for something to have on in the background, we hope you enjoyed this bonus compilation. We'll be back soon with a brand new episode, but until then, let's talk some Nintendo.
I think yesterday I finished it, and the days are all blurring together. But but I really liked Echoes of Wisdom. Now that I've gone through, I 100% completed the game. I did everything there was to do. I did all the side quests. I collected all the heart pieces. I collected all the power up crystal things. I did all of the dream missions, every single one. Pretty much everything there was to do in the game I did. And I gotta say, it was really good. One thing I really liked is it felt like the first Zelda where they got the money system right. Like every Zelda, this has been something I've paid attention to, is it felt like there was always a point where um like you got to a point where money was useless in the game, or the other problem they would have was basically the opposite of you never seem to have enough money to do anything in a lot of the games. Like Tears of the Kingdom, I ran into that a lot when I was working on upgrading my armor. I was like, oh, I never have enough money, and now I'm collecting stuff just to sell it, just to upgrade the armor. It was like I never felt like I had enough. Um, and then there's games like earlier Zeldas, like A Link to the Past, where and Ocarina of Time is a great example of this. Everyone wants to talk about Ocarina of Time as the greatest game ever made. It has its flaws, and one of them is the fact that you almost never need to spend rupees in that game at all. There's almost everything you would spend rupees on in that game you can find for free somewhere. Like the Hylian shield, you can find it. All of the tunics you get in different places, everything. So they really needed to come up with a use for money in that game, and really all they had was like the target practice games and stuff like that. But yeah, it's Skyward Sword's great. I mean, Skyward Sword. Echoes of Wisdom's great. I loved all the references to old Zelda games like Skyward Sword, is why I said that. That was on my mind.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
clip it, guys. Clip it. He said Skyward Sword is great. He said it. We have it.
I thought it was great that they were even referencing that though. Like they reference a ton. I don't know what that means for the timeline, but I'm not a big fan of the timeline anyway. Um, my the only real problems I had with the game was the it's sort of the same problem I had with Tears of the Kingdom, is the echo system. It doesn't put you in situations where you're forced to be clever and create clever implementations of the echoes. Um, it's just like in Tears of the Kingdom, I was never really forced to build anything creative, so I never did. And here I was never forced to use echoes in a creative way, so I never did. And I see online all these things, people are like, oh, did you know you could do this or combine this and this? And I'm like, no, I didn't, because I pretty much went through the whole game. Just if there were enemies, I spawned a dark nut and it fought them, and then I moved on to the next room. Like I never really needed to experiment. You just summon a strong echo and you're good to go. If I had to get up somewhere high, I just stacked a bunch of water and I was there. There's only like one time in the main campaign I can think of where they take away all your echoes and you're forced to solve puzzles using only the specific echoes available in the room. And I think we should have seen more of that, because that would have forced certain type of puzzle solving using echoes you probably aren't normally using. Um, and yeah, so as of right now, I think this Zelda would rank somewhere in the middle of my Zeldas. It's not a top five Zelda, but it's not a bottom five either. So it's like, there's like 20 of them now, mainline series. It's somewhere around number 10, 11, 12, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, I mean, I am not done, and I'm not very much further than whenever we addressed this game last time, I'm sure. But I am on the last part, so I'm probably like 3 or 4 hours until I actually finish the game and then go back and 100% everything. I don't have much of an opinion of the economy or the money in the game yet. I've made a goal. I've made basically kind of two goals my first playthrough. One is to not spend any money on like potions or anything that like well, potions pretty much. I'll say like only using smoothies for things like for that part, and then um trying to use combat as little as possible and trying to use echoes, which I find like you can, I don't know what percentage I would say of the game you can play, at least 80%. What would you say? Like echoes
Yeah,
only?
yeah, that
Yeah.
was pretty much what tied in with my criticism there. Is I was like, almost every situation in the game, you can, if you have at level 3, I think it's level 3 Dark Nut, the one in like the big heavy armor, you can just spawn him and he'll take care of the enemies for you, and you're good to go.
Yeah, so I don't really have much of an opinion on it yet, but um, I'll say at this point overall, I just think Nintendo nailed this game 100%. Uh, because I just feel like it's different enough, and it feels innovative enough in this environment that I'll give it leeway. And I have criticisms, like at this point, my biggest criticisms are just about the decisions they made with, the scrolling, which is what I've brought up before. Like they're just like I had over 100 echoes at this point in my playthrough, and it just becomes a lot. It was an interesting choice they made, but
I
I
would have liked to have seen more outfits in the game too. Like, I
yeah.
couldn't believe when I had made it to the end and had done everything that there was never an outfit for keeping Zelda warm when you're in the cold areas of the mountain. Like, Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild had that. Why didn't this have that? It's so weird that they want you to drink a potion.
I have to say, like, I'm always going to give leeway when I think any small or the biggest developer uh, tries to take risk and tries to do something that is new. If it doesn't work perfectly the first time, and I could say the same thing about Breath of the Wild, which is one of my favorite games. Uh, I it's fine. It's fine with me. To me, like I'm completely with you. I don't think in the end this will crack my top five, but it definitely cracks my top 10 Zelda games. I've had a great time with it, and
Oh yeah, great time.
a top 10 Zelda game is fantastic. Um, the Metascore and user score I should point out is at an 86. Like both the critics and users are almost at the exact same score.
Yeah, where they did not announce anything for the Switch 2, they announced an alarm clock called Alarmo. Um, and I just had a lot of quick thoughts. My first was that the trailer for this thing was initially so annoying that I almost couldn't even finish the trailer.
Mm.
It's so annoying.
Like, yeah, listening to the alarm, and I get that that's the point of an alarm clock, so it's kind of hard to show that feature. But yeah, I had that thought, and then my first, I think, like the thought I had right away was like, man, scalpers are going to be selling these things for like 300,
Yeah.
400 bucks, aren't they? Like,
It's already
you
sold out.
yeah,
Yeah, it
exactly.
is crazy.
But
Exactly. It's almost like Nintendo supports scalpers
Yeah,
sometimes. Like
yeah,
they do everything in a llimited run.
yeah.
the
Which
number
is
one, yeah,
no,
the,
sorry, mate,
the
go for
number
it.
one thing that just bothered me about this this trailer, which was I should say like the most typical Nintendo trailer for the most Nintendo-y Nintendo product I have ever seen in my 34 years of life. I have never seen a more Nintendo product ever. But like, why don't you just put some kids in the commercial? Because adults, this is not a product for adults. This is not a product for adults. Like, no adult, I'm going to generalize. I'm going to generalize. No adult wants to hear music or something that they enjoy as they wake up. Because think about it. Does anyone want to listen to whatever alarm they have later on in the day?
Well,
Like, it is
I'm gonna slightly
negative
disagree
conditioning.
there, where I don't know if this is even aimed at kids. I think this is solely aimed at Nintendo diehards who are like maybe made up of adults or just like like I don't know. It is weird to think of who would like this thing.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like if you are most most adults, I would say like this is not something that you would actually use. Would you collect it for $100? Sure, for $100, sure. I mean, it is a lot of money, but a lot of collectors are going can justify $100. I get it, but but the functionality of it, that's what I'm saying. The whole commercial made me mad because it's 7:30, it's bright outside, the sun's shining through the window.
Stop
They get up,
smiling.
they stretch. Oh, it's time to take on the day. No one lives like this. That's what I'm trying. That's just what I'm trying to say. Show me a Nintendo commercial. It's 5:30 in the morning. Bowser's
These
going
Nintendo
off.
customers need to get a job.
It's pitch black outside. Now, first of all, if you work until late at night and you wake up in the afternoon, I don't care. But
That's
show me one of like it. Show me one of the alarms going off and it's dark inside the room. It's snowing outside. Your wife is like, Bowser, why is this Bowser got what's going on?
you know
Give me that.
It's kind of funny. You just made me like connect these two things because yeah, if you watch the trailer, it kind of indicates that this is $100 clock for people who don't have jobs. Like, it's $100 clock for people who don't have to get up and go to work.
Oh,
It just made me think, when you said like they should have showed it like in someone's really dark room, and it made me think of that was it Tears of the Kingdom advert with the really depressing guy who would go into work and coming back like really miserable, and he barely smiled when he's playing Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh
I
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
like, he would be a perfect candidate for for this advert, I think.
The
You know.
the thing that I've been thinking ever since I finished the trailer is couldn't they have just made this a feature for the docked Switch 2? Like put like instead of having the dock on the Switch 2 be a solid wall in front of the screen, make it like a little window. And because I'm assuming they have that there to prevent the screen from being damaged while it's docked. So put a little window there and let the window do these things. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Or you
or
could
make
put
the
an
dock
LCD
into
screen on the dock.
exactly. Exactly. I mean, the Switch has those like $2 display clocks or games or whatever you're gonna call them already. So I think
Oh, I
that
didn't know
was
that.
yeah, I think that was like the most maybe the most frustrating perhaps is like it's like okay like if you legit wanted a alarm clock like that could easily be a function of any kind of gaming.
The first one up is the Lost Levels, the original Super Mario Brothers 2, however you want to call it, was not released in North America until we got it on Super Mario All Stars. Um, I've always not liked this game very much. This is like trolling before there was a term for it. Like everything's a trap. I'm triggered, as the kids would say. Like I don't know. I think it's funny when you look up. I tried looking up like reviews for Lost Levels, and all I saw on YouTube were videos titled "Lost Levels is a bad game." So I'm not alone, at least.
I was kind of nice to it. I actually, if you want to do the ranking, I put it at number 30 because I just like the idea that they released a sequel that was a harder version of the game. Even though I can get to 2-2 and that's it. I can't navigate the making the block appear and then trying to jump on the pipe and the gap but I don't know. It has this soft spot for me. But I agree. It's insanely difficult.
Yeah.
Well, that is something worth mentioning about it. Is like the video game sequels were a very new concept at the time, especially for a home console game. And obviously, like there was stuff on Atari, but like, did it really like relate? You had different lines and different dots. But yeah, it was like the prevailing thought at the time was basically like, oh well, if people want more of that first game, it's probably because they got really good at the first game, so we should give them something even harder. And like so many NES sequels are just like ramp up that difficulty, like dial that notch up.
Yeah. So I'm curious because I'm sure we couldn't find reviews from the time, especially because it was in Japan only at the time. But I'm curious if there's like one kid whose dad had like business in the 80s and came back with a copy of it. So they were like the one kid in their neighborhood. The dog had it, apparently.
I'm sure there was. I've seen social media videos of people who like had like the Nintendo 64 ahead of time. They had like a Japanese Nintendo 64 before anybody else in North America, stuff like that. So those people
there
are
must
out
have
there.
been one kid who had it, and everyone was like, "What is this?"
Yep.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've always remembered the first time playing it and falling for the fake mushroom thing, and I just kind of enjoyed that they were like,
honestly, I remember that too, and I remember thinking the game was glitched or something. I was like, this is broken. It's not supposed to kill you. What? Like, I could not wrap my head around the fact that they were intentionally killing me.
It's a little easier to discern in All Stars than the original game.
Yeah.
I
Do you have any love for Lost Levels, Harrison?
Yeah, I have a lot of it. I didn't have Super Nintendo growing up, but I do have lots of memories playing this on Super Nintendo, whether it's like at a friend's house or like my parents used to drop me off at this place called Kids Play, which was like just like a pay by the hour daycare, and they used to have a SNES, and I remember playing this game, just random memory. So I definitely rank it higher because I do have that sort of nostalgia, and I do stand by the fact that like the marketing of this game is like super cool. But like when I was a kid, it was like, ooh, the Lost Levels, like it sounded like mysterious and like oh
it is a cool marketing. This
is the game Nintendo doesn't want you to play, like something like that. And I find it interesting that even like on the wiki page, they bring up like the reason why this isn't brought over to the West is because of like the difficulty issue, whereas like we totally just breeze past the fact that like this game is fundamentally broken. It does things that should have been fixed in the second game that wasn't fixed yet. And it led to Super Mario Brothers 2, the US version, which is an extremely innovative game. It's an extremely innovative platforming game, Super Mario Brothers 2, the other one. So
yeah,
I find
it huge. Super Mario Brothers USA, as it's known in Japan.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I just find it interesting.
I'm glad we got both. You know, because it does have that cool, like, especially when it came out, because it's not like now where you could just look it up online when people always go, never before seen footage that you can easily find on YouTube. Like at the time, it was kind of like, oh, this has never been over here, so it's a big deal.
I just think that like that was one of the reasons, but it's not the only reason because there is just a lot of issues with this game, not just the fact that it's difficult. And also, I've seen videos of people in Japan playing video games in the 80s. Not all of you guys were good at video games. Not all of them were good. So like I just think that like I wonder if Nintendo was like our approach to making a game more difficult for people who love Super Mario Brothers 1. That was okay, but let's
Mm.
try something different now that we can expand this franchise. So anyways, this is number 21 on my list.
Ooh, that's pretty
When
high.
Oh, wow.
when Kevin and I ranked 2D Mario games, this was a tier B. I think in reality it's probably tier C, but for me it would be tier B because I do like this game quite a bit. Whereas I ranked the US Super Mario Brothers 2 tier A, or I think we did tier S
Yeah.
actually. I think we might have done S tier because me and you, Kevin, we really like that game.
I feel like
Yeah,
all three of
that's
us
one of
put
my
it high,
favorite Marios still.
Yeah. Yeah. So Kevin, how about you?
especially because nothing from it comes back. So
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
think I had the hot take in that episode where I revealed I like Super Mario Bros. 2 more than I like 3, but not more than I like Super Mario World. Anyway, we're not going to redo that whole conversation. I ranked it at let me see here, number 61.
Okay.
So it's towards the middle of my list because I'm at over 100 games now. And it puts it basically below Killer Instinct for Super Nintendo and right above Excite Bike 64.
That's fair.
It's it's in that range of game that like, yeah, I'll probably play this again someday. But I'm not going to spend 60 hours playing it. You know what I mean? So it's that
I found a good, afternoon or two trying to get past that point, but I just can't. So
All right, moving on to the next game, the Game Boy Advance release of A Link to the Past. We already gave our thoughts on A Link to the Past, but this one has 4 swords attached to it. And I think it's really cool that, like, I remember at the time this came out, the concept was confusing to me, but now I can kind of look at it as the first time Nintendo did a Bowser's Fury, basically.
oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Unless if Bowser's Fury had to be played multiplayer, so it's still a little different. But
Yeah, so I didn't rank this one because I couldn't get anybody to play with, so I don't know what Four Swords is like, but I'm guessing I didn't miss much.
Yeah,
it's
that was my issue too.
a co-op game.
Yeah. But is
Go
it?
ahead, Harrison.
Yeah, yeah. Like I didn't have anyone to play with either, so I did rank it, but I guess I had more questions than anything. Like, um, is one, does it feel like a Zelda game? And two, like, is this a good multiplayer game, or is it going to cause more frustration than anything else? Because I can imagine like playing this game with someone who doesn't play these games and being like, no, just step on it. Just you got to hit the thing, like just like that. So I guess does it feel like a Zelda game to you, Kevin?
The Four Swords part, no, I've never really been a fan of any of the Four Swords games. They did the GameCube game, which was basically like one where you didn't have to have a bunch of link cables to play with people.
Right.
And some of them have solo campaigns. You can include Triforce heroes in there too. I've never been a fan of these games. I know that there's definitely a community for it, and there's people who love them. I'm just not part of that community. And
I think the one thing I like about it is just picturing back in the day 4 people linking their Game Boys to play it.
Mm-hmm.
But
I saw a video where somebody linked 4 GameCubes with the Super Game Boy adapter. It was like the title of the video said it was something like a $15,000 setup or something because those things are so expensive now. to get all the carts and all the GameCubes and all the. I think the Game Boy player is like expensive.
Yeah,
I'm
speaking
sure
of
now.
yeah,
Definitely.
it was expensive. It was expensive back in the day too. But like speaking of which, is there a best way to play Link to the Past, or is it just preference?
That's what I was going to go over with my ranking. I'm struggling where I want to rank this one right now. I'm trying to think, and it the Super Nintendo version is still the best way to play,
Yeah.
or like any emulated version thereof, like you know if you're playing it on NSO or whatever. But this version, it does have differences, like the screens aren't as full. It's a little bit more zoomed in. And there's just like little teeny differences here and there. Nothing that makes it a bad game, nothing that breaks it, like in my opinion, some of those new Super Mario Brothers Game Boy Advance games, not new Super Mario Brothers, but you know what I mean, the Game Boy Advance.
Oh, Mario Advance. Yeah.
Yeah, the Mario Advance series. It's not broken like that. So it's still a perfectly fine way to play A Link to the Past, but I think it is for sure not as good as the original release. So I'm just struggling where I want to rank that, because A Link to the Past right now is my number one game.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to say like, okay, this is a different version of your number one game, but how much can you but they're both on the same service. So if I'm looking at it like, okay, if I'm booting up this service, what do I want to play? Well, I'm always going to play the Super Nintendo version of A Link to the Past, unless
Right.
out of some curiosity factor. So I guess that puts it somewhere again down towards. I'm going to put it right here at number 39. That puts it below Game Boy's Return to Samus and above Donkey Kong Country 3. Kind of an arbitrary, just felt like it belongs here ranking based on the fact that, like I said, I will always boot up that original version over this one. But it's also in a section of games where it's like I still enjoy these games.
Yeah, and I put this at 22. It's by far the lowest Zelda game on my list, and it feels correct with other games that are close by it. I guess recommendations would be if you have friends that are Zelda fans, 'cause I wouldn't recommend it unless you want to do it multiplayer. And in
Yeah.
that case, let's say you have like your girlfriend or your best friend, or you have three other people who like Zelda and they never played these games. You might want to check it out. I do have friends that have definitely enjoyed these games and enjoyed them back in the day. The last thing that I'll say, and I was gonna frame it as a question, but I'm just gonna jump over it. Zelda needs more multiplayer games. And I so wish that there is a mod for it, but I so wish that Breath of the Wild had multiplayer. Just to.
Yeah,
I
I wouldn't be
yeah. I
surprised if
agree
they
with
dip their
you.
toes into that soon. It looks like they're
'Cause
getting ready
I
to be
think
experimental with
Yeah.
Echoes of Wisdom.
yeah, I would love if the next one of those games is Link and Zelda teamed up
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
for
it's
sure.
multiplayer, because I think it would work really well.
Yeah.
I'll
I
be
mean,
honest, I definitely had that thought while playing it, because I'm always looking for games I can play with my wife. And I was like, when I played Echoes of Wisdom, I was like, oh, it's a shame that like someone can't just play as like, even if it's like an Echo version of Link, it would be pretty
Yeah.
cool. Like kind of like Guigi in Luigi's
Yeah.
Mansion 3 or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I would take any Zelda game, but more specifically, like something more like along the lines of Breath of the Wild, because I would just love like I could even have like my wife like play with me and just be like, hey, come on this adventure. When the baddies show up, I'll get it. like when the bad guys show up, I'll take care of it. When the puzzles show up, I'll do it. Just like have fun riding your horse or something like that, you know? So my question was going to be, do we need more multiplayer Zelda? But it's rhetorical. We do, I think.
This week I have been playing lots of Luigi's Mansion 2. And I have to say, this time around, I like the mission structure. Now that we have Luigi's Mansion 3 to contrast it with, it's like the mission structure was a bummer back when it was the only new Luigi's Mansion game to be played. But now that it's, not your only option, it's kind of nice to be able to throw it on and say, you know what, I'm just going to do one mission real quick and then get on with my day. It's, you've got a definitive endpoint when you start playing. So that's nice.
It was weird how many games were doing the mission structure for a while in that era. Like, I get it came with the wire or the handheld, right?
Yeah.
With that era, but everyone's like, "Here's a Final Fantasy mission structure," and I'm just like, "That okay, I guess."
Got to get you to your next stop. It's for people playing on the train and stuff, morning commuters.
And like, I get that as a guy who one point had like a 2-hour commute, right? Like, but I don't know. It was such a weird feeling because you're saying you didn't like the mission structure in 2, but like such a weird feeling that like the entire mobile gaming world kind of went that way for a while.
Yeah, I just remember it being a bummer because it was a highly anticipated game with like, the cult status of the first one, and that it took them forever to make a sequel. So when they finally did, people were like, "Oh, yay, and it's going to be portable. All right." And then it just was not as free roaming as the original game was. But now, like I said, now that we have Luigi's Mansion 3, where if I want free roaming Luigi's Mansion, it's the app next door. It's right next to it. So you can pick and choose now. So I'm enjoying the game a lot more this time through. I'm not like, oh my God, I gotta go through the entrance of this mansion again. Like it's just like, okay, I'm gonna play these couple of rooms for a few minutes and then the mission's done.
Yeah, it's Luigi's Mansion. I mean, just thinking about Luigi's Mansion 2, Luigi's Mansion 3DS, and then I mean, you can even go back and say, we all know that GameCube didn't sell as well as it probably should have, but like it just says even more about Luigi's Mansion 3. Because I think that series is now just solidified. Or again, I'm just looking at it from my perspective, going, it's one of my favorite games on on my favorite system.
No, but you're right. I'd say
Uh,
it's definitely in guaranteed to get a follow-up status, So we haven't seen the last of it. Well, that's funny because another thing I wanted to talk about this week is something that's kind of having to do with, I'm not sure if they did something correct or not. That's like a question I want to ask, because moving on to a different topic, another thing I was playing and finally finished this week was Metroid Prime Remaster. And I finally finished it, like I said. And one thing I like to do in games like that is I like to play the full game, no walkthrough, to prove to myself that I can make it through the game. And then usually when I get to the end boss, I like to go back and collect everything so I can have my cake and eat it too, I guess. So I can say I made it to the end with no walkthrough, but also 100% the game without having to do a whole full playthrough again, right? And that brings me to my point about like Metroid Prime has multiple missable items that you need to do another playthrough because you missed this and there's no way to get it now. Not items so much as scans. I did get 100% of the items, but I only wound up with 90. So I did 100% items and 92% scans. And I'm like, ugh. And the scans that I missed, I'm so frustrated with because it's just like it's scans of enemies that are just a different color of an enemy I scanned, and it only appears once for an event. So I'm like, I didn't know I was supposed to scan that one. I thought I already had him. So anyway, my question is, how do you feel about missable items in games? Like, is that something we should have less of, more of? Is it a good way to encourage a replay, or is it just kind of punishing somebody?
I like to have the option. So ideally, uh, yeah, ideally it's having that option, And if I want to go back to Stardew, like in Stardew, you had that option of completing in year one, and they give you a
Mhm.
check to have that option in the beginning. So ideally, yes. Do I like missable items? No, no, not at all.
Mhm.
And uh, I don't know. I mean, it's probably been since the beginning of gaming that it's been going on. And in Pokemon, it was used as a way to get people to buy the other games or to
Yeah.
collaborate and make it more of a social thing. Because like there was
Well,
certain
that's
Pokemon
different
that
than a that's more of an item you're locked out of once you make a
yeah.
choice. It's
Mhm.
not like you could have gotten both fossils. You know what I mean? It's a little bit different there, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's a little different, but I could still restart the game, go back, get the fossil, and that would be
Mhm.
completion on my own.
Well, I'm
But
sure a
but but
lot of
it's
people
it's
did
different.
what
It's
my
different.
friends and I did back in the day is to get all three starters, we had one friend just replay the beginning of the game 5 or 6 times so that we could each have all three starters. So that that was a way to counteract that missable item thing.
Right. Right. And so it is different um in that sense. So yeah, I don't like it. Um giving players um, that agency is good because it's a single player game. Single player
Mhm.
games should have as much agency as possible, in my opinion, because who cares? Who cares,
Final
right?
Fantasy 9. Final Fantasy 9 is another game I play like this where it's got a ton of items where that area, like there's events in the game where you can't go back to that town anymore. And there's a one of a kind item in that town. So if you don't get it when you're there, you miss out on it. And it's just so it requires you to use a walkthrough because you're like, if I miss a single step here, I can't have my flawless run. And it's just annoying. You should be able to go back and collect things, I think, always. It's just it's punishment. That's what it is. It's punishing me for not using a guide or
Yeah,
memorizing your game.
I'm I'm with you on that. It's probably more punishing to you, but
Yeah.
I'm completely with you on that.
Yeah, well, we've been teasing on here for a few weeks now, me talking about Mario and Luigi Brothership because I got it day one and then didn't play it for like 2 weeks. But I've played it now and I do have thoughts. It's not a 5 out of 10 IGN. If we want to weigh in on that controversy, that was an absurdly low score. I'm not saying it's perfect and I haven't played the whole game yet, so I don't know what I'll walk away with, but I've played enough to know it's not a 5 out of 10. Okay, it's not that buggy or slow or you have fun when you're playing it. Like it's not something where you're like, this is mid. Like it's got a lot of charm. I love that it's an RPG, so when your characters are leveling up, it's represented by a Mario flagpole, which I'm like, how did we have this many Mario RPGs
Mm.
and never do that before? That's such a cool idea. And there's the characters are so animated. There's so many like little it's almost like Luigi's Mansion, how they have a lot of like pre-recorded like bits that and animations and stuff that will pop in. Um I think the complaint they had about the load time, I'd like to know how old that reviewer was because I feel like it might be a generational thing. I don't think I would have even noticed the load times if they weren't pointed out. Like it's kind of standard for like older RPGs that when you enter a random battle, or they're not random in this case actually, it's like Super Mario RPG where you can see them on the field. But anyway, when you enter a battle, there's a little bit of a load screen, but it's not bad. Like it's not like I've ever been playing him and like, come on, load. Like it's no, it's the same amount of time every time, and It's just a transition screen. It's you bumped into the enemy, you see the screen, you start the fight. Like it's that simple. Um, and I think that might be too much for some people, but especially if you play older like PlayStation era RPGs, you're not even going to notice it. And like load times for entering new areas, I don't know. I've seen longer load times on the Switch. I'll tell you that. Like sometimes the load times in Animal Crossing New Horizons get to me. They're longer than these load times. So that wasn't an issue for me. Uh, so yeah, I don't know. I was thinking about how much of it's about like timing because if this game came out like on the GameCube, it would have been an instant classic. But because it's releasing today, we have so many like indie games that are in this style or like there's so much other competition out there that there didn't used to be that it's I think that's what led to that IGN review, but it's a great game. I'm glad I bought it. Definitely one I'm going to replay. I already know that. Um and one other thing I want to talk about. So, I posted about this online this week is I've always talked about how I'm not a fan of PlayStation trophies. I prefer when the game gives you like an in-game reward for accomplishing something. And Luigi's Mansion 3 had this thing where in the menu there was like a checklist and it was sort of like an optional trophy system. This has the same type of thing. They're like stamps, and when you get them, you also get rewarded in the game. So they have different accomplishments, and it is absolutely the things you would get a PlayStation trophy for. It's like do a time attack 50 times or like it's all like rewarding you for how you play the game. So it's all PlayStation. It's all PlayStation trophy type things. Um but when you do them, you don't just get a trophy, it gives you like an in-game reward, like you get a one-up mushroom or something for doing it.
Animal Crossing
Uh,
has something a bit similar to that.
what's that?
Yeah. Well, Animal Crossing has. I mean, it's been so long since I played it, but like they have like some kind of in-game achievement where it's like if you get like
Oh, the Nook
50,
things. Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah, okay.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
not.
exactly.
But maybe it's like points. Maybe it's not like that achievement or something. But yeah, I
No,
was
but that's
playing.
that's along the same line. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was playing a game recently where it's like where it was like walk into the room achievement. And I was like, I really don't like those. like I really don't like the ones where it's like they're just giving you achievements for like
Yeah.
you turned on the game. Like
Yeah,
you get a
if it's
trophy.
something that's especially at the beginning of games too, like something where literally it's something you have to do and it's within the first 5 minutes of playing the game. Like I get what you're doing. You're trying to get that dopamine hit started early so I start chasing it, but um we don't need trophies for like you said like you made it out of the first room, like things like that. Um Anyway, yeah, it's a great game. As far as like my overall rating, I don't know. I spent a lot of time playing. There was this beach volleyball game where you had to hit it back and forth 100 times, and I get stubborn in games, and I'm like, well, I'm not going any further in this game until I until I hit this volleyball back 100 times. So that took me like 3 hours. It's very reminiscent of there's a moon in Mario Odyssey where you have to play the beach volleyball. It's very much like that. But I did it, and now I'm moving on with the game. And I think just in summation, it's a good example of a game that maybe is like a 7 out of 10 on paper, but you'd still recommend everyone who's into Mario should play it. Like you're like, hey, look, this is not a 10 out of 10. This is not going to make your greatest games of all time list. This is not going to change your life, but it's worth playing for sure. So, yeah, you're going to see some problems, but the good outweighs them. I finished this week the first new Super Mario Brothers on my 3DS, and
nice.
this week it just made me want to tell Mario Wonder fans to calm down a little bit. I've seen so much like revisionist history trying to like erase the new Super Mario Brothers franchise, and saying things like Mario Wonder feels like the first true sequel to Super Mario World. And I think that's so crazy whenever I see that. Like, you can't ignore this step that the franchise made. Whether you think Wonder is better or not is another conversation, but like they almost want to like erase it from history, you know?
Yeah.
I hear them say, "Oh, it's like a sequel to Super Mario World," and I don't know, the new Super Mario Brothers. I had never played the first one before. I started with the one on Wii, and then I played the Wii, basically the console versions. And going back to that first one, it just really drives home how much that series innovated, even if it did get stuck in a rut and start repeating things with the subsequent installments. But yeah, I was just like, yeah, man, do not ignore this step that 2D Mario made. If you're out there trying to say where the franchise went, you could maybe ignore the other new Super Mario Brothers games, but don't ignore the franchise as a whole.
Although I've got a soft spot for new, what's it called? What's it, Super Luigi?
Yeah,
You know, on the
I've got a soft spot for any time they do something with Luigi.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. There should be.
You always got to root for the underdog there, or the
100%, 100%.
And I was also thinking this week. Last week we talked on this show about when retro gaming really started to become a thing, and retro collecting. And something I completely forgot to bring up that I wanted to bring up now is, do either of you remember screwattack.com? Because so it was a website that started around the time of the Angry Video Game Nerd, and then eventually they kind of incorporated Angry Video Game Nerd into their website for a little bit. He was like one of their people. And I don't know, they used to have this thing called the Video Game Vault, where they would make these reviews of retro games, and that was, along with Angry Video Game Nerd, one of the first times I saw like something big really drawing attention to Super Nintendo or NES era video games and talking about why they are still worth playing today. So yeah, definitely something I forgot to bring up, but the Video Game Vault that they had on screwattack.com back in like 2003, 2004, whenever that was, that's definitely about the start of when I started to see it.
Yeah, I couldn't even remember if that was like what we talked about last week or what we talked about when we went off air last week. I couldn't even remember.
I think it was in the show.
It was in the show. Screw Attack, there was so there's a lot of lore / drama that I don't know about. It's like it's in the category of don't know, not going to look up for me, you know.
Yeah.
But I will give background that that
I think
Screw
Stuttering
Attack,
Craig from it has a YouTube channel now or something, and
right,
I don't know.
he does. So Screw Attack got bought by Rooster Teeth in 2010, or maybe it was 2009, 2010, and that became Death Battle. And Death Battle is a huge. I mean, it has over 6 million, but I don't know how much of that has grown. So it might be a lot of old, non-existent subscribers. Uh, but Rooster Teeth, I think, went completely defunct last year because they had a game publishing company that went defunct like this year, last year. I think the company is just going away. So I remember about a year ago hearing that Craig was going to try and buy back Screw Attack. which is no longer Screw Attack. Like if you
I
type in
would
screwattack.com, it just goes to the Death Battle YouTube page.
I would believe it because the
So
only time I've
yeah.
seen him recently was doing a YouTube video, basically like reminiscing on the good old days of Screw Attack. So, and that's what reminded me to bring it up. So, so yeah,
it's
it makes sense.
it's kind of unfortunate that, and like I another reason why I stay away from the drama and everything of Cinemassacre and Screw Attack. One, I don't have time. Two, it's still it's still like really enjoyable to me. Like they have an editing style that is so like nostalgic that when I watch it, I just feel like I'm at home and it's like a nice fall day, like back in the day. Uh, but it's unfortunate that a lot of it is just lost media unless someone has it preserved somewhere because it's far enough in the Wayback Machine that a lot of these reviews and articles or like blog posts, YouTube videos are just gone. So Animal Crossing is the obvious one for me, of course, with birthdays. But is there any
Mhm.
other games that come to mind, either with a birthday theme or when you think about your birthday? Any games come to mind?
Birthday theme. Well, you could always get gifts on your birthday in the Harvest Moon games. I remember that was always fun in Harvest Moon 64 and the PlayStation 1. I think it's called Friends of Mineral Town. So that was good. The good birthday game in there. What else do you input your birthday for? I feel like it happens all the time, and now I can't think of a single example.
Animal Crossing is the one that I always think of because it's on that cycle. And I was trying to think, like, I know I've gotten plenty of games for my birthday, um, but but yeah, I am sending it
Yeah,
over to
I have a
you.
core memory. I have a core memory of getting Super Return of the Jedi one birthday on the Super Nintendo, which still is my favorite of those three Star Wars games they released back then. And little did we know at the time how we were about to get some of the best Star Wars games ever on the next generation. Like, the Shadows of the Empire kind of kicked that off with the Nintendo 64, and then you get the Rogue Squadron games and stuff like that. But yeah, I remember getting Super Return of the Jedi one birthday. Um, Trying to think if there were any other birthday games. My birthday's in May, so it's not a very popular time of year for big releases. So like, cause like summer releases tend to come out like the next month in like June or July. I think Bomberman 64 was a good one. Um, but nothing else I can think of. How about you?
But before we jump ahead too much, and this is my last part, I have to point this out. This is amazing. Japan sold 190,000 Nintendo Switch OLEDs in the month of September, which is half of the entire home console hardware sales in Japan for that month. That's ridiculous.
Hmm.
Like we're comparing it to like I mean, Xbox isn't really a thing in Japan too much, but we're comparing it to like PlayStation and like we're talking about all home console hardwares, which is just to say that I think we're just gonna have Nintendo Switch for a long time.
Yeah.
Because I'm just thinking like I don't know how licensing works, but how many third party developers are going to be like, hey, can we have a licensing deal for Switch 2 and the Switch, which already has a home base of like how many millions at this point?
Well, even though it's a different situation, keep in mind Nintendo supported the 3DS like a full year into the Switch, where they were basically having two portable systems at the same time. So this would be another situation with two portable systems, assuming everything we've assumed. Um, So I think they'll at least the whole first year, probably I would say at least 2 years worth of titles releasing on both systems.
It's just ridiculous. And if you want to come back and say like, yeah, Harrison, like it's the biggest company in Japan and they're selling the Switch. I mean, I would just say that like if you took Switch OLED as its own generation of console, it would be old at this point. I mean, it came out in 21, didn't it? Or 22? Came out in 2021. So it would
Yes.
be
Yep.
like it would be like a fairly old. It would be a year older than the PS5. So it really surprises me when I see that, and it's like, man, like I just think gonna we're just gonna keep seeing Switch. Like, could we see Switch until 2027? Like, could we see a whole decade of games that are getting ported to the Switch console?
Probably.
Oh no.
If there's
What's
money to
next?
be made, they'll be doing it. And that's what matters, is if there's going to be money to be made.
What's next on our list today?
So next, before we got into all the Pokemon news, I just wanted to talk about a couple of things with Nintendo Switch Online expansion pass and something semi-related. So, um, first we've got Banjo Tooie coming. I think it already showed up on expansion pass actually. So, we finally got Banjo Tooie. All of the people have one less thing to complain about every single time there's an NSO update now. Because it's always been, where's Banjo Tooie, where's Conker, where's Diddy Kong Racing, where's Donkey Kong 64, and every Pokemon game. Now there's one less game for them to complain about and say, where's this game? So now we just need, where's Conker, where's Diddy Kong Racing, where's the Pokemon games? And I'm excited to play it because I haven't played it since the Nintendo 64 days, and that's a game I never finished. So when that comes up in the randomizer, I'm definitely going to do like a full playthrough of it. And I think we're burying the lead here. Maybe we should start talking about Echoes of Wisdom. I was
Sure.
just like you, only really able to play about an hour's worth. I don't know how spoiler heavy we should go. We'll say medium spoilers if you're listening, because I mean, how much could we spoil? We each played about an hour of the game.
Right, right. Yeah, so I'll just say for what I played, there's really nothing I could spoil for you if you've seen the trailers. If you haven't seen the trailers, then I mean it is what it is. There's nothing that I saw in the first hour. The only thing that I could say that's spoilery is that it was my expectations of what it was from the trailer, if that makes sense.
Hey, I called it on Link. You starting off playing as Link too. By the way, I was so like happy with that because I don't know if it's gonna come back later in the game, but I'm like, yeah, this is exactly what I thought this game was gonna start like. Although, speaking of how the game starts, though, this is before I forget. This is something that Tears of the Kingdom also did that I don't like, and I hope it's not what all the games moving forward are gonna kind of be. Is I don't like that once you open up the app, it just goes straight into the game. There's no like, I'm sure there is a home menu, but
There
I
is.
didn't. There wasn't one from starting the game. I haven't restarted the game yet, so I don't know if it shows up there. But
There is.
what's that?
There is.
Okay, good. So that happens when you
Yeah.
restart the game, I guess. But like I don't like the Tears of the Kingdom did the same thing, and I don't like that. I don't know what it is about just like 30 plus years of playing video games and being programmed that you have like, a little bit of a cutscene or something, and then it goes to the start menu and then you choose new game. And I just, especially in Zelda, the new game element is, I mean, this time around you're not naming the character, so I guess that might be why they avoided that tradition, but I don't know. I wish they all started that way. I like the home menus of lots of these games.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot with Nintendo games. It's probably with other first party uh developers that want to make it this like cinematic when you just kind of first go into the world. Because I think Mario RPG did the same thing on its remaster, because there's been times where I've like put a new game in and I've like walked to the kitchen, came back and been like, what? Hold on.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. Yeah.
It might have been like I wouldn't be surprised if like the Princess Peach game did it. I only played the demo. Uh, a lot of them. I think Breath of the Wild does it the first time. I think, but it's been so long I can't remember.
Yeah, that's a good
Um,
point. I would
I
never
don't
be able
like
to
it
remember
though.
that. Yeah, me either.
Yeah, yeah. The point is, I don't like it because whenever we take away agency, you know me, I'd rather just, because there
Yeah, and
have been times
like
where
you
I
said,
missed it.
sometimes you're booting it up and you're like, okay, let me boot it up, and then you get distracted by like your phone or something real quick, or like in my case today it was my dogs, and I'm like, oh wait, the game is going. Like so, yeah, you want to be the one who activates that. And I guess you could argue that you activate it by opening the app, but I wasn't prepared for that to be the activation point.
Okay, so well, if you want a spoiler, the main menu on Echoes of Wisdom is strikingly similar to the main menus of Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, in my opinion. Yeah, it's pretty basic. It's pretty simple. It's like you see the same overworld that you see in the opening sequence when Zelda first makes it out. So
Well,
uh
moving away from criticizing that part though, onto the positives is like I am already way happier with this as a continuation of the series than I was with Tears of the Kingdom. And I know technically this is another Zelda game reusing an art style. In this case, they're reusing the Link's Awakening remake art style, but this is something that feels, even though it's reusing an art style, like a totally new experience in a way Tears of the Kingdom never did for me. Like, don't get me wrong, Tears of the Kingdom had a lot of amazing things going for it, but to me, it never felt like a new experience. It felt like a continued experience. And this totally feels like a new experience.
I can't believe it. I did uh a, I read probably all the initial reviews for this game, and a lot of them are just paying homage to the fact that, I mean, we are almost 100% sure that this is the final Zelda game on the Switch. I know I've said that more than one time on this podcast, but we're like almost positive at this point. And it's just, I can't believe that we're leaving on something that's sort of like this game. And I think that it's very beautiful that it kind of, in a way, sort of feels like it ties everything together, but then kind of leaves the next generation open to, I have no idea what's coming next. You know, 2D, 3D, something entirely new altogether. I have no clue whatsoever. Tears of the Kingdom um, was potentially called, or at first was going to be called, Tears of the Dragon. And we'll just say that Tears of the Dragon would have potentially been too spoilery. So if you have or have not played Tears of the Kingdom, that's all we'll say about that. It could have
I
been, it could
actually
have been,
I
go
actually
ahead.
think that's a better title. And to I don't think it would have been too spoilery because I know what you're referring to, but You go on the quest to collect the tears like almost immediately after leaving the opening area. I don't think people would have put a connection together of what that actually refers to. Like I don't think that would have gotten ahead of them. So yeah, I actually wish they called it that. I think that's a better story. Dragons are always better. Um I would have gone with that.
I could see two
Yeah,
reasons why they didn't, though. Like, just off the top of my head. One, um, dragons are very aggressive. Fantasy is very aggressive creatures, and very few Zelda titles have been like aggressive titles. They've always been things like Oracle of Seasons or
Yeah, that's a good point.
Breath of the
Yeah.
Wild. Very
Kingdom
tranquil
does fit that
titles.
theme more. Yeah.
And then the
right.
second is
Like
Tears of a Dragon sounds like it's a Yakuza spinoff.
it it does.
Especially
Like
following Breath of the Wild, like
Yeah.
Breath is just like so not a very tough sounding title.
right, and Breath of the Wild was so. I mean, in my opinion, it was so dragon heavy. I mean, we had three of them, uh, and Breath of the Wild, like one of the coolest parts. Like, I mean, I played Breath of the Wild blind. Do you remember the first time you saw a dragon? The first time I saw a dragon, I was like, "Oh my god!" And then I turned around and I just went the other way. I was like, I don't know. I don't know if that is like something I fight or not.
Yeah,
But
I had the same
either way,
thought. Like I definitely the first time I saw one was like, "Oh, I'm not ready to fight that yet."
Yeah, definitely that stormtrooper turning around moment. You're like, nope, other way.
yeah. But I don't know. Like, do y'all got any other good alternative? Tears of Hyrule um, is my only other one. But yeah, if we
Um
don't spitball, it's
Gluing stuff together
I,
is
almost an
that's what you
assembly
do.
title seems at times more apt, but
Tears of the Kingdom must grow, which would have been funny to me. But anyways,
Zelda, we did it better than Banjo Kazooie Nuts and Bolts.
that's true. That's true.
I'm surprised they haven't
Not nuts and
re-released
bolts.
that because everybody's talking about it.
Yeah, or even just try to like
Potential.
redo it. Or we actually haven't seen many. Like when Breath of the Wild came out, we saw a slew of like Breath clones, but we haven't seen any that have really tried to replicate the Tears build anything motive.
See, I think opposite of what I said about Professor Layton, I think that might be a development thing where I remember reading when the game was fresh about how labor intensive developing the whole fuse mechanic was. So it might not be something very easily replicated.
Well, you know who is replicating it is Nintendo with their new Zelda game. I
Yeah, that's
mean,
true.
not fusing, but bind.
Yeah, and
Is
Ultra
going to be
Hand.
present. Right. It's going to be very much a Tears of the Kingdom inspired game. So no surprises there.
Or just seeing all the unique solutions that are going to come out with Zelda's actual game. Replicate 1,000 chairs to climb up this wall.
I cannot wait to see the kind. There are going to be so many different categories of speed running for Echoes of Wisdom. That's another prediction that I have. Like, I can't wait to see who does the first bed only speed run or whatever it's going to be. Like bed and table. Like I guess you start with a table or something.
The chicken only run.
This is really coming close to ending. I think Wii U ports altogether. Kevin, what do you think?
Well, first off, I hope this is true because this is a series I've wanted to get into, and the fact that it's not all available on Switch was part of what gave me hesitation. The titles are a little confusing for me as someone who hasn't played the series yet, so I'm not sure if you need to play this game or if it's like Final Fantasy where it all starts over or whatever. But I've always wanted to get into the Xenoblade games, and missing that Wii U one has always been like the excuse I use for not starting. It's like, oh yeah, but I can't play them all, so I'll just wait. But as far as your question about if we're gonna see the Switch keep going after the Switch 2 comes out, I think it's going to go for some time because it's such a successful system. I think we're going to see what I hope we don't get into a situation like the PlayStation did with the PlayStation 4, where it seems like it just never really fully committed to the PlayStation 5. But I think we might see something similar where we see a lot of releases on both consoles and more basic titles being released for just the Switch for, I don't know, a year, maybe a year and a half, I think would be the perfect amount to help people make the transition. So yeah, I think we'll see more. I think we'll see Switch titles for a little bit more.
I wouldn't be surprised to see, much like how they did with the Game Boy for a while. You know, we got out the new Game Boy Pocket or then the new Game Boy Color, and then there was a small window where it'd be like it could play on both, and then eventually they would be like, okay, we're done with the Game Boy; it's all color now. Or
yeah, like I expect us to see, I don't know, like an HD version on the Switch 2 and then like a more basic version of something. I mean, maybe not for big releases because they're definitely going to be pushing people towards the new system. So like whatever we get for the next 3D Mario game, that's only going to be on the Switch 2. You know what I mean? But lots of third-party games and lots of indie developers, especially indies and third parties, are going to want to capitalize on that built-in base that they have of how many people own a Switch already. So they're going to ask themselves, well, can this game be released on Switch? And if it can, I think it will be because you know, you'll reach more people that way.
Sure, like indie games like Animal Well, or like a lot of huge indie games that have released recently that could easily be played on Switch hardware. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
I could see that. Hopefully that that benefits us as consumers in some way. You know, hopefully that potentially means lower price points or just better sales overall. You know, that's what I always look for. Uh, so
I'm really hoping that like all the games I've purchased and whatnot continue onwards. Like, because Nintendo's never carried on past the generation when it came to like digital sales, but with the other two, that's kind of where the world's becoming. That I'm hoping Nintendo is forced to look at that and be like, we have to carry on with our online sales from one system to another, or we look at Xboxes and their smart delivery system and try to emulate that.
Well, nothing's confirmed, but from what we've seen on this podcast, it is strongly rumored that the next system will carry over the eShop. Apparently, Nintendo, even themselves, weren't happy with the fact that they couldn't quite get the 3DS, the Wii U, and the Switch to all, and the Wii going all the way back to that. Even they were kind of like, yeah, that was a mistake. So I think going forward, I'm hoping as well. Yes, absolutely, that eShop translates.
yeah, and this next system, if it releases next year, this next system could run until 2030 or later. You know, who knows? So, you know, that's going to be a long lifespan if if the old eShop if this digital eShop rolls over to the next system. Only thing Nintendo is just, I hope at some point they cut the fat a little bit, not with indie developers, but just with like the overall like multiples of shovelware that we have on there, like multiples of the same game that end up on the system. But you know, I just hope the eShop just gets better overall in the next system.
Well,
Speaking,
hopefully the system has a lot of RAM and can handle having the eShop open without practically crashing.
Press down, go make a sandwich. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the rumor. I mean, based on like shipments that we've talked about on here, that it could be similar to like what we see a Steam Deck being, which it would be a significant upgrade if we had that, and it would be Nintendo over um uh it, it would be them doing more than what consumers probably expect. Similar to like the GameCube being the most powerful system of that era. Am I right? Am I right on that? Uh, Speaking of Wii U games, though, and I want you to tell me if I'm wrong. I think if Xenoblade comes out, of the first party games, I think we'll get Wind Waker, which was, of course, a port, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, Twilight Princess, which is also a port, and Paper Mario Color
Uh,
Splash.
Wind Waker had some changes to it. I don't. Twilight
Had some
Princess, from my
changes.
memory, can count as a port, but I don't know. I'd say it's such a gray area that people debate these days. But I don't know if I'd count Wind Waker as a port
Fine.
just because they
So-
fixed the ending.
Well, that's fair because whenever we get Wind Waker, we will get the Wii U version. That's fair.
Yeah,
That's
that
totally
version will be
fine.
a port for sure.
Well, so anyways, just to be fair, I'll say I think there are those 4 games, and then honorable mention, I could say Star Fox Zero. I think that is it. Because like for example, Yoshi's Woolly World, I don't think would come out. It's been 5 years since Crafted World had like released. Fatal Frame, Maiden of Blackwater, didn't do well at all. There's no reason to bring back Mario Tennis, Ultra Smash, Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival. I think that is it for the system, which is just crazy to think about, right? Because we've had a, a number of ports, right? Like a number of them already, but not that many. But
Yeah, the only thing I
am I
can think
wrong?
of
Like,
that you didn't list
yeah,
is Splatoon. The original Splatoon on the Wii U could see some sort of remake, but I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen. It's just something that, like, if it happened, I wouldn't be surprised. But
I feel like Splatoon's
yeah,
going to go the way of like Mario Kart and Smash, where they're like, here's the
yep.
new one. We ignore the past now that we're past it. They've always seemed to take that approach with those.
yeah, I could just see it getting like a nostalgia release where they like add like a new play mode or something. But like I said, I'm not expecting it. I'm just saying, like, in the realm of possibilities, I'd put that one not as impossible.
Like a Diablo 1 in Diablo
Yeah,
3 thing.
not
Like, I'd say it's more
yeah.
likely than some of the ones that you were saying, Harrison, where you're like, we're probably not getting this. I agree. Like, I'd say we would see
Right.
Splatoon re-released before we'd see Yoshi's Crafted World because it's been so long at this point.
Yoshi's Woolly World. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, Woolly
exactly.
World. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
feels like Nintendo is, leaving money on the table. I mean, do you give this the full remake? No, I don't think you're ever going to get that. But you do this and maybe drop it for 40, like people were doing, or like they did with Metroid Prime, and I think you're going to see a bunch of people who are like, oh man, I missed that one. It's only 40. All you have to do is remaster it. And I think they're leaving money on the table, not trying to bring some of these smaller ones that didn't get as much attention because they were lost on the U.
Well, just in general, with how many Kirby games and how well Kirby does now, I don't understand why we don't get a Yoshi game every like 2 years. And it wouldn't necessarily be a game for like somebody like me, but there's definitely an audience, especially like a younger audience that would, I think, play these games, and it wouldn't have to be a series that sells 10, 20 million. It could sell 2, 3, 4 million and be fine.
Oh yeah, my niece, just got into gaming. She's like 6, obsessed with Kirby.
Yeah. Kirby's awesome. I never
100%.
understood why there isn't more Yoshi Um, why doesn't more Yoshi win when there is that much like that many Kirby games out there? Um, we've done I don't know how many on this show so far. But yeah, that should be it for Wii U, and it just I can't believe that it's gonna be like not you can't say it's like an obsolete system, but like it's gonna be accessible on like every game. Almost every game you want to play will be accessible on a different system.
It's
And I
definitely going to
think,
go down as one of those weird ones in history because you had like the Wii on one side and the Switch on the other, right? Two of the Nintendo's greatest consoles of all time. And then you have the Wii U, this sad little stepchild in the middle that never got the attention it deserved, right?
Yes, Kevin was very sad that it ended up being Nintendo Therapy podcast biggest mistake um, uh, of Nintendo. We decided.
yeah, we did a tournament where we basically faced together one by one all of Nintendo's biggest mistakes, and the Wii U ended up winning, despite the fact that I still have lots of love for that system. And I will say I prefer the vibes that you have when you turn that system on still over the Switch. Like there's something about that home menu that's better, in my opinion. The Switch, not even everyone's talked about how you can't get custom backgrounds, but even besides that, there's no, it's silent. Like, you know what I mean? Like there was
Yeah.
that ambient noise to the Wii and the Wii U that I really liked. But that's a conversation for another day. We
As
can
someone who
we
has
can
a sound bar, and I'm sitting there, my sound bar takes a couple seconds to boot up, anyways, and I'm sitting there with the Switch going, "Is it on? Is it on?" Dude,
Yeah.
okay, finally, there's a sound.
Yeah, they
But
haven't done a Metroid collection yet. They're all still individual out there by themselves games. But that was the other thing I wanted to talk about this week is just a thought that occurred to me is just how much of a collection machine the Switch is. Like I was thinking about just on my Switch alone, I have Mario All Stars, the Grand Theft Auto trilogy, Metal Gear Solid Volume 1, Spyro trilogy, Crash trilogy, Grandia collection, the Sega Genesis collection, Mega Man Classics collection 1 and 2, Street Fighter collection, and the Cowabunga collection. And that's not even like all the great ones. Like there's the Castlevania ones out there we've brought up on the show. There's Tomb Raider one I want to get at some point. What else? I never know how to say this game's name, but I always call it Suikoden. Suikoden. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
A game I've always wanted to play. It's got a collection coming out in March. So, um, I don't know. I just kind of wanted to bring it up because I'm thinking about how awesome that is for gamers now, and the fact that the Switch is a portable system. It's just great. I don't know. I thought of it this week, and I'm like, wow, there's really a lot of collections on this thing. Are there any that I didn't mention here that you think are worth just being appreciative of?
No, I went through my collections as well. I had Mario 3D All Stars. I don't know why. I was told it was gonna be worth something one day. I have GTA trilogy. I'm not really sure if I'm gonna buy any other ones that are currently out. But yes, there's a lot. Um, you know, over a year ago we did best bang for your buck um, games, and there's so many because you can get a lot of these on sale, and then you just have a lot of games.
Yeah, like that Tomb Raider collection's only $30. That's $10 a game. That you can't. That's amazing. And they're not just bare bones either. They're remastered, and they've got that mode where you can switch back and forth between the original visuals and the remastered visuals. So I couldn't believe it when I saw that. Or it might be close to. It might be 39.99, but I think it's only 29.99. I don't know. Either way, it's a very well priced collection.
Right, right. Just saving money and getting lots of games. I'm not really sure if there's any currently out that I want. I'm sure that there will be more in the future. Um, Perhaps we get a different kind of Pikmin collection or something like that. Even though like 1 and 2 are
Pokemon
together.
Classic Collection. Do it. Do it,
Yeah.
Nintendo. Put
And
red, blue, gold,
and
silver. What am I missing? Yellow. That's what I'm missing. Put all that on there.
uh, it's kind of a fun coincidence that the GTA trilogy was just updated like today or yesterday, I guess it would be. Um,
Mhm.
it just received the update yesterday
I think
after
that's what made me think of this, actually, is seeing that news story. Is I was like, wow,
being
there's a lot of collections.
being out for over 3 years now. Just insane. It's just insane that like it's been out for over 3 years, but it's like less than half the life cycle. But yeah, it just got updated, and I was watching comparisons, and it looks great. Unreal Engine is just not a great running engine on this current system, so that gives me optimism about um, the next system, having GTA 5, having GTA 6 when it comes out. I know they're looking ahead to that. Uh, so, yeah,
Speaking of memberships, did you know there's a GTA membership you can have?
like GTA Online.
I guess. I don't know. All I know is I was looking at that collection to see what it cost to talk about it this week on the podcast, and I saw that it's free if you have a GTA membership, and I'm like, so separate from PlayStation Plus, they have this where you can also get games. That was crazy to me. Everything's a subscription these days. So the next topic I had was that I'm almost done with Pokemon Blue. And I've been thinking about going through the Pokemon series in order just because I missed out on so much of it. And this is definitely motivating me to do it. So I think I'm going to continue with Yellow, and I might live stream it for our YouTube people. I don't know exactly how to set that up yet. But if I can figure out a way to live stream my playthrough Pokemon Yellow, I'm definitely going to do it in random chunks. I don't know what day I would specifically set up to stream, but I got to figure that out. It's, working two jobs, you never have enough time to do the things you want to do, but it's something that's on the table. And
For
just thinking about those old Pokemon games, I'm just starting to wonder, like, it's been almost 20 months now since the Wii U 3DS eShop shut down. And I'm just like, when are we gonna be getting those early Pokemon games on Switch or Switch 2? Because I don't know. I think it's suspicious that they haven't shown up on the eShop, which makes me think at some point they do plan to bring them to Switch Online. It's just like when. But it's just crazy to think that up until 2 years ago, or whenever they shut down, it was like 20 months ago, they shut down the Wii U eShop. You could buy Pokemon Red and Blue, and I think all the way up to the Game Boy Advance generation on the eShop and just play them on your Wii U and play them on your 3DS. So when are they going to re-allow us access to those games?
I have my thoughts as
What's that?
as I kicked over my main light.
Oh, is that what
uh,
happened?
yeah, yeah.
All right.
Okay, audio only. Yes, yes. If you heard a crash, that was me kicking over my main light. I might fix it later. Who knows? My thoughts is that it's not coming at all. No, it's not.
Ever?
To Switch Online? No, I don't think so. I think
Or to
there
Switch in
is.
general. So do you think they'll be on the eShop the same way they were on the Wii U?
No, I think if they're gonna do that, they just remake the whole thing again. Unless they're gonna give us um yeah, I don't yeah, I don't know. They did it on 3DS, they did it on Wii U. They have the Let's Go series, which is Red and
Hmm.
Blue on the Switch. I think they're looking ahead and they're thinking, no, like there's too much. There's just not enough money. I think, like in it, because they will and they can re-release those games over and over again, um, and they'll make money off of it. So my prediction is that it hasn't come yet. Pokemon Stadium has been out for this long. It's just not coming because they want people to focus on games that they can monetize not on the subscription service but through in-app purchases or through hardware. So I think if we haven't got it now, we're not getting it. It's been wishful thinking. It's unfortunate. It's not right. So um, that's my prediction.
Yeah, I don't know what I believe of them coming because it almost seems too good to be true. It's like you said, it seems like something that has a lot of value in it for Nintendo, but I also at the same time feel like at some point they got to do something with them. Like maybe releasing a collection as a purchase that like not Switch Online, but like something where they release a actual like almost like the Mario All Stars collection or something. They might do that at some point, but I think at some point they should make those games available to modern players. So we'll just have to wait and see if they do.
I don't know. I don't imagine the Let's Go games took that much. Like when I say that much effort, I mean in comparison to making a whole different Pokemon game. And if they wanted to go the route of making like Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, but make it as Fire Red, Leaf Green,
Hmm.
I don't. I just. I think that would be like it wouldn't cost them that much money to do, and they could turn around and sell it for $60, and then just find out a way to import your Pokemon into Pokemon Stadium, or give us a whole nother
Hmm.
Pokemon Stadium. But um, I just don't think that the franchise is going that direction because too many people will be playing it. I think. I think everyone who has a Switch Online service who wants to play Pokemon already has Pokemon games, and then they're gonna be motivated to play games on a subscription service that they already have. Um, I just think it's more likely that we would see a 3D remake, but we already have Let's Go. I don't know. You see,
Yeah.
I just there's so many directions Pokemon can go,
Hmm.
like a Let's Go series of Gen 2. We're getting Gen 10. There's so many different ones that they could do.
Then my next item that I liked from the Pokemon leak is Pokemon Legends Zeta A was originally intended for 2024. I'm glad that they slowed down the release schedule with these games. We were still getting Scarlet and Violet DLC in 2024. I understand that Pokemon has a certain pace it needs to keep because of the card game and all the other the anime and all the other elements at play there. But my God, guys, like we don't need Pokemon Legends Zeta A that soon after Scarlet and Violet. So I was glad to see that it got delayed there. And it also takes people time to get to a game sometimes. Like let a series breathe. Like not everyone buys a game on launch day. Some people are buying Scarlet and Violet 3 or 4 months after it came out. So let it breathe. Um, as far as story and lore elements that were leaked, it's important that everyone remember because I know all of these things went viral. Just remember that just because Game Freak made something, it doesn't mean it's officially canon just because it's them. If they didn't release it, there was a reason they didn't release it. So, all those crazy lore stories, I don't think we need to say that they ruined Pokemon forever. Uh, there was a cool scrapped Pokemon that I would have loved to have seen. I thought this idea was awesome. It was a Pokemon that would have evolved into any of the other Pokemon. Like it randomly would have selected a Pokemon that it evolved into, which I thought that was really cool. It's like kind of like a variation on Ditto, I guess you could say. Like it's just like a Pokemon that can become anything. So that's pretty cool. And everybody fell in love with that Water Rabbit starter that would have replaced Mudkips in Gen 3. Um Even if it wasn't a starter, I am kind of bummed we didn't get that because it would have been cool to see it battle Score Bunny in Sword and Shield. That, you know, Fire Bunny versus Water Bunny. Let's do it. So those
There
were my
were
thoughts on the leak.
Yeah, there were tons of Gen 3 sprites that came out. And and yet like so many of them are like I think their process is like just like we just keep making it over and over and over and over again until we find the one that works and we find the style that works, and usually the style is a little bit more it's a little more kid friendly. I think it's not ditchy, you know.
Mhm.
So we definitely saw a lot of cool designs, and then we saw a lot of designs that are like, hey, this could have been like just something somebody drew at some point at some point. That's it. Uh, but yeah, similar to what you said about that Ditto character, a lot of different cool evolution methods that we saw, including Pokemon that would change colors, Pokemon that would change colors or act differently to different environments depending on where you were in the map, and a Pokemon evolution where you could release the Pokemon and it would come back to you evolved. Which, oh man, like, could you imagine like having that back in like Gen 2 or something, where it's like you have this bond with your Pokemon, you gotta set it free, and then like one day you're playing Pokemon and you're just in the grass and it comes back to you. It comes back to you, you know? Like that would have been so cool. That would have been really cool. Um Mew 3 has been talked about a lot. Mew 3 is something that we've been talking about since I was 9 years old. Um, since I think since there was Mewtwo, there's been talks about Mew 3.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm not sure if it is the same as the Mew variant, and I'm forgetting which generation this is, if this is X, Y, or what generation we're talking about at this point. But there was definitely talks about Mew 3. There's always lore and gossip and rumors about that.
At this point, it's not a
Uh,
matter of if, it's a matter of when. We will see
y-
Mew 3.
yeah, and I also mentioned on here is that I just like it's pretty clear that people are way more into this Pokemon stuff than I am. I mean, like, there's just been so much info that we're not going to get to on here. Um, Mystery Box Turtle. I really like Mystery Box Turtle. It's just a cute blue purple looking turtle. It looks like it has a red box for a shell. And I really I really want to know, like, can you catch the mystery box turtle and then get some like loot? That would have been cool. That would have been pretty cool. Uh the Gen 3 the map editor was leaked, but it seemed to have caused more confusion, which happens a lot with leaks. Like we get like some information or we get like snapshots of information, and then people are like, what is this, is this Gen 3? No, this is Nintendo DS. Like so now that people are fighting over, is it Gen 3 or Gen 4? But it's I guess kind of cool, like if you're into like modding and you use like map editors that are probably way better than whatever they were using 20 years ago. Pokemon Rodeo is one I brought up. Pokemon Rodeo is one of the canceled games. It looks a lot like Legends Arceus in the graphic style, and you ride around on Pokemon. And I wonder if it would have taken a route similar to Monster Hunter. And Pokemon has gone through so many different genres, And there's so many different genres that it should revisit, in my opinion. But I wonder if they would ever do like a Monster Hunter type game that's like, more for adults, like more for the big kids. But I don't know. I don't know if that was the MMO that people were talking about. I'm a bit lost in that. Um, Speaking of Legends Arceus, there was supposed to be voice acting. So how does everyone feel about these leaks? Do finding out leaks about like this make people feel better? Like finding out that we were supposed to get things that we didn't get. Like, is that fun for people to know? Uh, and
Yeah, I
then
mean,
Pokemon,
I
yeah,
think it is. Like, people just love to think about what could have been, you know? I mean, like, I've said this a lot before. It feels like Star Wars fans' favorite conversation is how Star Wars could have been different. Like, like they talk more about like what they would have changed than they talk about what's actually in Star Wars. So, or like, oh, did you know George Lucas wanted to do this here? Or did you know that they originally wanted to do this here? Like, that's like the number one conversation among them. So it's definitely fun to speculate what could have been, but you just can't live in it, you know? You don't live there forever.
moving forward, I would like voice acting. Like I would be. I mean, if we're going back to if we're going back to 2D, that's different. But I I would be perfectly fine with having every 3D Pokemon game have voice acting from here on out, um, and have much better pacing. Uh,
Yeah,
I,
I mean, I would love to see a Pokemon game that looks like the anime. You know, like they could do it. And I know I'm not the first one to say this, but like look at how the South Park games look exactly like an episode of South Park now. They could make a Pokemon game that looked like that.
yeah, or give me like a Studio Ghibli or Ghibli. What is it? Ghibli or
No.
Ghibli? Whatever it is, um, it can be a lot better. And the best looking Pokemon games, wait, like Legends Arceus, right? And like Pokemon Snap, are not made by Game Freak. So that's it. There was a Pokemon like WarioWare micro game that was supposed to happen was canceled. I mean that would have been cool again. They should just adventure into all different genres when it comes to Pokemon. I did skip the lore part, but did you see the part? Did you see this part that I'm highlighting?
Oh, um, yeah, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, yeah. So there were some parts to the lore that I wasn't sure we were supposed that we should talk about on here, but it definitely caused a lot of discussion, lots of funny discussions within the Pokemon community, and I'll tell you that none of it surprises me whatsoever. I'll just leave it at that. None of it surprises me at all. Knowing the developers, knowing the fan base, none of it. So yeah, I think I mean I if I could close this part for me, I mean this is something in Pokemon history that we'll never forget. I think Pokemon fans will remember these days very clearly. They'll remember like where they were like when they first saw the leaks on Twitter or something. But um, this is by far the biggest leak of any Pokemon or perhaps any just Nintendo franchise, period.
I'll go first.
Sure.
Uh, it's been a pretty rare Nintendo week for me because I can't remember a Nintendo week that has been so mobile dominant. And I
Yeah.
messaged this to you, Kevin, yesterday, and I don't always believe in the Apple numbers, but it's Apple. Nintendo has the second best free app on iOS, which is Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket, and then they have the number one paid app, which is Animal Crossing Pocket Camp Complete.
Which I
And
downloaded today and fell asleep when I was loading it up because I work third shift. So I'll be playing that tonight.
um, I can kind of tell you. Um, 'cause I didn't play it. I played it like I think one day when it first came out, and then I knew I was going to get frustrated with the in-app purchases, so I was like, I'm not gonna play it. I'm not gonna like do that to
Mhm.
myself. But now that the free version is out, um, it's there's a lot of initial content um, that'll last anywhere between a few days and a few weeks, depending on how much you are playing it. And then it might be more of a casual game, but there is so much to collect. It is overwhelming. Um,
Is it kind of like the regular Animal Crossing?
it's not so much like the regular Animal Crossing, but there's a lot of charm to it, I must say. There's a lot of things in it that reaffirm a lot of missed opportunities that were in Animal Crossing's New Horizons, which came out
Okay.
uh, 3 years, almost 3 years after Animal Crossing Pocket Camp did. So it's a shame that like Animal Crossing New Horizons didn't find that medium of like not being a live service game in a sense that it's predatory, but also like updating the game constantly. Because again, like Animal
Mm.
Crossing New Horizons, if you just gave me like new cosmetics every 6 weeks, I'm gonna log in and like collect it. But there was just nothing really that was too much there. But it has been just a absolute dominant week. I mean, I couldn't find numbers on how many premium memberships there are for Pokemon, but there has been over 200 million in revenue, which is more than Pokemon Unite in the entire history, which is a 6-year-old game and is out also for consoles
Yeah, I
as
think there
well.
was some bad marketing on Pokemon Unite also, by the way. That was something I wanted to bring up last week when we talked about Pokemon Pocket is like I literally didn't even know that game existed until the trading card game Pocket came out. So like
What is Pokemon Unite?
It's a MOBA.
it's another mobile card game app that
Oh, okay.
so it's like they already made an app for the card game and now this is like the better one.
It's
All
more
right, that's
like
weird.
I'm gonna fail doing this because I'm not a real gamer. It's more like League. It's like a MOBA. It's a MOBA
Oh,
game. I looked. I have some friends on my Switch account that have over 2,000 hours on Pokemon Unite. Like they play like just a couple hours a day, just for like.
wow.
Um,
Mhm.
they play like three games. They play like Stardew, Animal Crossing, Pokemon Unite. Like it's like uh, but it's a I can see how it's addicting. But yeah, I mean that is a over 6 years old. It's available on consoles, and then just imagine what we would be doing if there was a Pokemon trading card game on Switch. That's a whole other big conversation. But yeah, they're averaging over 3 million in revenue a day. I wish there were more numbers because um, I know there was a study done last year that said like 1.8% of mobile gamers make in-app purchases, and the top 1% is like 30% of all purchases. So like I have seen people spend some crazy amount of money on Pokemon already, like
No, I
over a
remember
thousand dollars already on it.
I feel like that stat has gotten better because I remember hearing that stat back when I used to play The Simpsons Tapped Out. And I don't know if it was for just that app or something, but it was a very similar statistic where it was like, very, very small number of people make the in-app purchases, and then like very huge percentage of that make up the bulk of the in-app revenue. Like the people who do spend lots of money.
Yeah.
And then there's people who spend very little. But
I,
yeah.
I can see a medium because I'm sure like a big, maybe not majority, but plurality is the premium membership, and perhaps it's premium and then like that's it. Like I'm sure
Mhm.
that's me. I'm sure it's a lot of people.
I don't even know how to spend extra money except for stuff that I
You buy
don't really
gold.
care about, like the mats and the coins and stuff. But yeah, you buy the
You buy
gold,
gold.
yeah, but like I don't ever really need the gold.
You
Like I
yeah. The gold just gets converted into whatever you want from there. So you buy the gold,
I guess
six
it
gold.
just I looked into it and it just didn't seem worth it to me
It's not worth
for
it.
the price.
It's not
Like,
worth it.
yeah,
It's not worth.
it's not worth it at all.
But if but
Like the amount of gold you get, it's I'm just like I'll just wait till I can open a pack. Like I don't know. So I guess not telling
yeah.
people how to spend their money, but I feel like the gold incentives. I feel like I would be spending money if I got a little bit more gold for my money. You know what I
Well,
mean?
yeah. Well, it's not worth it, and let's stay on that because it's like my feeling right now is that like I'm I'm probably 2 days away from finishing the like everything in the premium program, and I just signed up 5 days ago, and
Oh
it'll
wow.
probably go on for a month. And when I got the free membership, by the time I got the free membership, I was already done with the premium program last month. So I'm hoping that they do find a medium because there's supposed to be a small set this month, a large set next month. We just need more because I'm feeling like if you sign up for premium, chances are you're someone who wants to play the game more.
Hmm.
Chances like unlike if you have it for free and you might just play every once in a while, if you're paying $10, you probably want to be more engaged with the app. Now, I'm happy that
And I think they might
Nintendo
be
is
slow building it too,
yeah,
though. Like where, the app is still relatively new. They're building their install base, and then on top of that, they want the people who did get the app now they want them to feel like they were able to do everything, so that when more stuff gets added, they chase that feeling. You know what I mean? And like eventually, the stuff gets to a point where you can't do everything, but you remember back when you could.
yeah, and it'll be a balance. I mean, again, like for me, I would like this would be like 8 out of 10 because I would knock off 1 point because it feels like early access because there are
Hmm.
features that we just don't have yet. I'm fine for early access. I play plenty of early access games. Trust me. And I knock off a
Oh, that
point.
is a rabbit hole.
Yeah,
You don't want to go down that.
and I would knock off a point just because I feel like we need more. Like I brought up MLB The Show last week because it has like card game elements to it. At its best, at that game's best, there are things to do when you finish the programs. Right now, when you finish the programs, there's not really much to do besides battling some random people and leveling up pretty slowly. I saw one guy online. He's at level 50 already, free to play. He played he won over 3,000 matches, which means like he's played at least 10 days like in game time. Like
Which is insane because you can't autoplay those. You have to actually play them.
those are the games that he won. And
Yeah,
like
that too
you can't even see the loss record. So
is an uplifting thought where I was thinking this week about how Nintendo fans, you're just the best. Like, anytime I have ever had to reach out on Reddit or somewhere on the internet for some sort of Nintendo exchange, it's always been delightful. Like every time I've always had to like trade a Pokemon to try to complete my Pokedex. Like not only do I get the one I'm asking for, but they'll like send the Pokemon over like holding like a master ball or something like something like that. Like um or they'll give you a shiny version of the one you were looking for. Like they always go a little extra. This week I for the first time used dodo codes in Animal Crossing and started getting some stuff for my island, and everything I was getting, they were just giving me more and more than I was asking for. So that was just something that warmed my heart, that I was like, oh, I'm so glad that every time I do this, it seems like people are just like enthusiastic to help another player, you know?
Yeah, it's a really great community, and I guess that goes to the positive end of there being no voice chat easily
Yes.
accessible on the Switch. So
For sure. And I kind of like that about Animal Crossing. Like, I wouldn't want to hear voice chat of like, you go to someone's island and like, oh, come here, check this out. I want to show you. So what I was trying to do here, I like when they just take you over to the area and they do the little emoji thing, and then you clap. You have your character clap for them, and it's just like there's something so adorable about it you would not get with voice chat. Not saying that there's not a place for voice chat. Some games definitely need it. But a game
yeah,
like Animal Crossing, I feel like it's better suited this way.
Yeah, they
no, I
need they
agree.
need to fix their text chat, but I don't think Nintendo is ever going to do full voice chat. And that's why we have Discord. You know, if
Yep.
I wanted to voice chat with somebody over Animal Crossing, I would just say hop on Discord, and do it that way, because like on Animal Crossing, you have the Nintendo app which you can text
Hmm.
through into the game, and it's super goofy. It's just like it feels like one of those technologies that shouldn't exist. Um,
Nintendo's like the one company that wants to have like an extra peripheral at all times that does one thing.
they want to be
And so they're
different.
like, oh, there's phones now, so
Yeah,
we'll use the phone, and that'll be the communication thing because it's a phone.
yeah,
And it's like you could just put it in the system, but okay.
yeah. We see this with lots of companies um, that they need to constantly be innovative, but
Hmm.
throughout the innovation, sometimes you get just trying to be different, and sometimes the difference is not innovation, it's just being more different and more difficult in that sense. So with the good comes the bad. Um, Thinking about like the Pokemon trading card game right now, they've been very co- uh, they've obviously thought a lot about how they want their players to communicate together, because all you can do is like send a little thank you thing. Like you can't chat with them, you can't do anything beyond that. So
They
it's
were
obviously.
cracking down on usernames, which
Oh, I
made me
saw.
think of like the classic Simpsons bit where Bart prank calls Mo at the bar, and it's like that's the Game Freak employees going through everybody's username, like Amanda Hug and Kiss. No.
Yeah,
You
I
can't
saw
use that.
I saw one out during the event the other day. I saw one that I'm pretty sure is going to get banned at some point. It's not like deliberate, but it's like it's obvious that's something that should not be. It's not appropriate. Is all. It was very
Okay.
funny. I'm like, you're probably gonna lose your name at some point. Yeah.
I don't
Uh,
even read the names, to tell you the truth. I look at what level the player is and try to guess how good their cards are going to be based off that.
I'm almost never playing against someone with it um with like Latin English characters, like because I'm
That
usually
too.
playing
That too. Yeah.
because you know you're probably the same because you do third shift. It's
Yeah.
usually like afternoon in Japan, so I'm usually playing with people over there, or I don't know if they have it in China. I don't know if they have that, but but yeah. Um,
It's funny
So
because the one time I've ever, beaten somebody online and from Japan was like one round of Street Fighter 2. And it just once. And I'm like, oh my god, I won. And then I get destroyed the whole rest of the time.
yeah. Online play is just not my vibe. It's just like because I always want to be like super courteous, and I'm always like, oh, they're waiting for me to do something, and like it's just I would much prefer to like play against a computer where I'm like pause like let me
Yeah.
yeah.
let me go to the kitchen, come back, let me fix something, let me get a snack or something, but like
Well, I just auto play all the computer matches at this point in Pokemon trading card game. Like I just auto do them until I get my victories, and like that's how I finished the Venusaur event. Is I eventually got a deck where I could just auto play and win like I don't know 30-40% of the time. So yeah.
So I got Stray this week because the physical copy came out and I completely forgot about it, but I wanted to play it. And I was going through my physical games, and most of them I have are just ports of things that, are supposedly better on other systems. I was just curious, do you guys still buy physical games at all?
Not for Switch. For the other systems, I do. But the only reason I went all digital on my Switch is nothing against physical games. It's that, like, in my mind, I'm just like, well, if I'm gonna have a portable system, I want my whole library to travel with me. So that's basically the reason I went all digital for my Switch. But for my PlayStation 5, I buy physical games still.
Yeah. And for
What
me,
about you, Harrison?
and for me, it's exactly what I can hold up on the screen. I have 5.
That's it?
Yeah, I have 5, and I'll list them off real quick. I have Special Edition Witcher 3, haven't played. I have Splatoon 3, never play it. I have Pokemon Violet because I thought I'd get it physical for some reason, I don't know. Animal Crossing, which is it's the only one I wanted physical, and I got it midnight release, and then 3D collection because I was told this was going to be worth.
It was going to be hard to find.
It was going to be worth like tons of money one day, but then I see it at like Walmart,
I see it at stores all the time
like
now.
all the time,
like,
right?
Well, you guys really
Here's
get
the
us
thing
to buy
Nintendo
that.
needs to do if they want to increase their physical sales, I think. Maybe I'm alone on this, but for the Switch 2, please, Nintendo, design better cases. I hate the look of the all red Switch spines lined up in a row.
Okay.
Like I just don't like it at all. Go back to having artwork on the side or something. I don't know.
Game
Might be an old
manuals.
man complaint, but I don't like it.
Game manuals.
So that leads to my other
game manuals too.
question. So if you guys couldn't have your digital libraries for a year and you just had your physicals, is that a good year for you on Switch? Is that a rough year? How's that look?
It's rough, but it's fine. Like because like all
you've got Animal Crossing, so
right?
you're all set.
All 5 games physical that I have on Switch are games that you can replay a lot and games that are long. Like Witcher 3 is very long. You can replay it. Splatoon, you can play Splatoon over and over. I could play Animal Crossing every day. I could play Pokemon every day. I would not be happy about it because like I just wouldn't be happy about because like I don't like because I'm assuming we're saying I can't go out and like it's the games that I have now.
I'm saying like your digital library is locked for a year.
Yeah, like if I can't
all
play
you've got.
like if I can't play Stardew for a year, I'm going to be mad. For sure.
See, I thought that would be one you'd have physically because I know it had a release.
Right. I never picked it up because I can't find out where I live, and I've bought
That's
it
fair.
and I've bought it digital 3 times.
Okay.
Not that I wouldn't buy it.
3.
Not that I wouldn't buy it physical, but
So
yeah.
you just have your launch stuff?
And then I've been looking over at my Steam Deck, going, well, I can't play Steam Deck for a year. So yeah, I think I could easily do it because I think if I had to, I could pick 3 games and play it for a year. If somebody had a gun and was like, play 3 games for the next year, I'm gonna shoot you. I don't know why. I don't know why they would do that.
So that's all you have, Kevin, is 3.
I have 3 before I made the decision to just go all digital. I have Breath of the Wild that I got with the launch of the Switch. I have Mario Kart 8 because you're required to have it by law.
Right. That's legal.
And I have Mario Odyssey. And Mario Odyssey was the straw that broke the camel's back there, where I think I was playing that in conjunction with Breath of the Wild, and I got sick of getting up to change the tab over and over again. So like at that point I was like, you know what, this is a portable system every game I buy from here on out for Switch is going to be digital, and I never looked back. But like I said, no other systems. Just like if my PlayStation 5 was portable, it'd be a different story, but it's not. And no, I don't have the little, I forget what the
Portal.
attachment thing's called.
Oh,
Yeah,
you don't have the
Portal.
$200. Yeah.
and I'm
So
not
I'm the
gonna.
only one who's having an okay year then with just his physical Switch games. Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be fine. Like it would be perfectly.
Yeah, I can play Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey all year.
Yeah,
No problem.
like if you gave me Animal Crossing and Pokemon and said this is it for a year, yeah, I could do it.
So I just have more
I'm just probably
variety.
I'm probably gonna be doing other things wherein I would have been gaming.
Okay.
But yeah, I would just look at it and say, okay, like just don't look at all the other games that are gonna come out this next year because yeah, I've given up on the backlog thing. Whatever.
I hear you. I hear you. So I mean, I I think I could close it by saying that I think at least I'll remember 2024 as like uh, a really great year for Nintendo, but kind of a weird year also. You know, it's like probably like it. I'll be looking back on it as the transition year because I'm assuming this will be the final Switch year, and be like, oh yeah, that final year, like we had some like really good games. Like again, like no Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, but we had Echoes
Mhm.
of Wisdom, we had Mario and Luigi, we had all
I
these.
know exactly what you're saying. I had this thought just today is that it sounds like it's starting to sound like unless we start hearing some stuff about the Switch 2, 2025 is going to be the slow year that everyone was telling us 2024 was going to be. Because Nintendo's got like nothing announced right now. We've got a Donkey Kong game that's being released for the third time and another Wii U game coming to the Switch, and that's it.
I'm not so sure about that. Because we thought 2024 was going to be slow, and everything that was released in 2024 that we were excited about was announced in 2024. I think.
Yeah,
Um,
true.
so I don't know because you could tell me either way, and I would believe you. You know, I think 3D Mario is coming in 2025, and if so, it's not going to be a slow year. It is not.
Yeah.
It is not going to be a slow year if we get Mario Odyssey 2 or whatever it's going to be called. It's not going to be called Mario Odyssey 2. It's going to be a different. It's going to be something different. Do you think so? New system, new
Yeah.
title.
Yeah.
I
I
think
know
so.
I've brought this up before, but the coolest idea I saw that they're not going to do, but I saw one that was like it was like a fan concept of like Mario Worlds or something. I don't remember what they called it, but it was basically like Mario jumping through all the other Nintendo franchises, and I'm like that would be so cool. They'll never do it, but it was such a cool idea.
That was like my favorite concept of Mario Odyssey was them using like 2D and
Mhm.
2.5D so much in that game. It's just so innovative, like the way they pull those things off. So yeah, it'll be big, it'll be great. I'm gonna predict that 2025 is a huge year for Nintendo. Do we have a movie
Yeah, if
coming
we
out?
finally get that Switch too. Hmm?
Yeah, yeah. We have new hardware. Do we have a movie coming out? I'm not sure, but I
I
think
don't know.
but I don't. Honestly, after Echoes of Wisdom, I'm like, don't predict and just like everything that you can assume can just be like thrown out because like Echoes of
Yeah.
Wisdom just completely threw me off guard this year.
Well,
Did
right
not.
away, everyone's still assuming the Switch 2 is coming out in March, and I'm like, I hope so, but I could totally see them announcing it in March because all they've confirmed is that they will announce it by March. That's all they've confirmed. So I could totally see them announcing in March that it's coming out Christmas 2025. Not saying it's going to happen, but it could.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see summer or September.
Yeah.
I could be talked
I
into.
could see the opposite too. I could see them announcing, "Hey, this is coming out in 6 weeks." But you never know.
Yeah, but being quiet through the holiday season, I guess we shouldn't be surprised about that. Uh, it kind of does seem like some of the some of the things they've released have seemed like trolling at some points, like the alarm clock, the music app, things like that kind of seem like trolling sometimes. So,
Yeah.
um, anyways, I hear people coming to work on my house. So how about we do this spotlight game because we started late and
Um
or
yeah, I was actually thinking maybe we could hold the spotlight till next week, and maybe Sean can give his thoughts just because
right.
we've had so many problems this week. It's going to
It's
be a shorter
Castlevania.
episode, but yeah, Castlevania. Yep, and he is the Castlevania guy. So hopefully he can get his stuff sorted out and be on next week and give his thoughts on that.